Shawn, mate, thank you so much for jumping on and joining me for this chat. You're coming off a monstrous milestone and well earned. I know, we've known each other since basically the first month you began your business, which we'll hear a little bit more around in a sec.
Yeah.
But hitting 76K, you mentioned just now with Cyber Monday in November is just blowing all of your numbers out of the park. But I know, again, how much work has gone into it, how much of that is compounded over, I think, only just a couple of years, right? Like it's actually quite a short period of time.
Yeah,
And
2 year mark in November.
there you go. Yeah, two years, perfect little milestone there. And yeah, it obviously just paves the way, having built up your audience, your customer base, everything that you're doing, put yourself out there in what I would say is a highly competitive market, but you've been able to find your way through some strategies we'll obviously talk through in a second. But firstly, obviously, congrats, and it's amazing to see, especially given our working relationship for the last couple of years, man. So I'd love to you to just kick off just with little intro about yourself, about your brand, how it came about, and we can tuck into the weeds after that.
Yes, sounds good. Thanks, Will. So I'm Shawn. I'm the founder of Willy Wagtail Clothing, and I sell premium men's underwear and essentials, t-shirts and socks as well.
It's awesome.
And yeah, just hit the 2 year mark in November.
I know. So, and do you recall when we first, it didn't seem like that long ago, like what you were just starting out, right? When we engaged, is that right?
Yeah, so I was still working my corporate job, which I left last December. So it's actually like pretty much a year since I left. So I have a 1 full year of being a full-time entrepreneur under my belt. Mind you, still felt full-time even when I was working a full-time job. But yeah, so we connected in 2023 when I was pretty new. I started following you. You sent me a message, and I was just kind of learning the ropes of like creating a tech pack and designing a product. So from very early days, yeah, to now. So I guess 2.5 years we kind of since we've connected.
That's awesome. And talk to me about that initial stage. Like some people would sort of say that they would want to do things, on their own for a little bit and figure things out. But what was your thought process at the time with sort of getting help, right from the beginning?
Yeah, I think with having to juggle both a full-time corporate job and a side business, the goal was ultimately like no plan B. This business is going to succeed, and I'm going to quit my corporate job. That was just the path I was on, and there's nothing that was going to, stop that from happening. So, and I think with the amount of information, on YouTube and everything, there's so much advice, and I think if you can just hone in on someone that has, done it, succeeded, like yourself, and block out the noise, right? Because you hear so much conflicting information on how to start a brand, how to do meta ads, Google ads, everything, right? Literally you have to do everything, right? Email marketing, everything. So I just saw the benefit to joining the community, and especially because I'm a solo founder, being part of a community is just so beneficial, and it's even awesome. Like it's even so good meeting people in person because like they just feel like your people, right? Like everyone's going through those same challenges, and you just connect like instantly with people that are all going through that same thing.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's really cool foresight. And sometimes we make decisions as people, but certainly business owners out of necessity. And we look back and say, yeah, I'm really glad that kind of happened. Sometimes though, it feels like that it was the only option. Like you kind of mentioned with getting help, it just made sense. Obviously, you're like, I don't have time to waste. Well, I just need to know exactly what to do in what order to project forwards. And
Yeah.
you've obviously reaped the benefits of that versus, oh, I'm going to, you don't say this to yourself. You're like, I'm going to struggle for the first 12 months and then I might go and get help if I can't figure out, which, a lot of the times people sort of know that it's not going to be as easy as what they sort of think. And so that was amazing foresight that arguably would have cut off years off your journey. Like you can just honestly look back and say that because here you are in a very short period of time hitting these milestones that some people A, never hit, or B, take sometimes a decade to hit if they're that persistent, which again, a lot of people sort of aren't because they just don't have the time. Um,
Yeah.
talk me through. I love that you mentioned that your intention was to leave the corporate world, the full time job, and then again, a massive milestone this time last year. I remember when you told me, and I was so proud of you because I know it's what you wanted to do. And a lot of people have those ambitions too. I mean, what talk me through that thought process and even the conversation, with the family about like, hey, this is what I'm doing. What was it? What was it like at the time?
Um, it wasn't scary, to be honest. It was like it sounds like a daunting thing to leave the security of a paycheck. And like, I guess it was just the perfect moment in time where, off the back of kind of my first Black Friday, even though I launched Black Friday in 2023, I don't think I had any ads up. It was, I did get sales from strangers, which is an incredible feeling, but it's kind of my first one where I prepared and somewhat had a loose plan last year for it compared to this year. But yeah, like we could see the momentum shifting, a couple months before Black Friday 2024. And it just seemed like the right time. Like you know, I kept getting repeat customers and like 5-star reviews are rolling in. And I guess it's partially like, a gut feeling of like, okay, this business just requires more of my time
Yeah,
and it's just going to absolutely go up. Right. So I think, and there's a huge financial component of that with it depends where you are, I guess. If someone has that ambition to quit the corporate world and everything, it has to still work financially. You can't just quit and not have any money coming in or whatever. So
yeah,
there's still it was still a year of building the business in 2025 and building, like, growing profits and everything. But it was kind of an easy conversation just because we knew it was gaining momentum, and um, it's it's the long game that we're playing. So why delay? We were in a position where I could leave my corporate job, focus fully on the business, and yeah, just
yeah. I mean
dove
that's
straight in.
yeah, that's brilliant. Confidence in backing yourself, and again, kind of like just starting the business and jumping the program as we mentioned, literally just 12 months before that. It's in a sense like the blind faith, but you've already had some evidence behind that. And so as we continue to build our businesses, even more evidence gets sparked. But there's always going to be that leap of faith, and there's no guarantees in anything that we do. But by taking
Yeah.
responsibility for it, and then honestly believing that we can do it, there's strangely not a whole lot more than that you need, because with those two things you will do what it's necessary, do what it takes. And so that is
Yes,
such
belief's
a
massive. Belief is absolutely massive to
yeah,
have.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned before, totally depends on your personal circumstance. But you have a young family, like
Yeah.
everyone could make an excuse, and I love and
Yeah.
admire yourself for just doing it. And again, we may have thought about it right back then. It was like, what's the worst that can happen? You can go back to your corporate job if you really want to, like, or you had to,
Yeah.
you know.
Solid resume to lean back on if I needed to.
Yeah,
But
yeah. But obviously that
yeah,
was never the plan, and you've had an incredible year, and I,
it's
I
not
would
the plan.
yeah, and I would certainly credit the success this year to just the newfound freedom, maybe a little bit more of that back against the wall type attitude. And as I say, I'm never surprised when a result like this happens. Because of how you're made, and what you've actually been able to the position that you've been able to put yourself in. I think that to like the environment that we create for ourselves gives us the best opportunity, and that is totally from a working scenario, literal physical environment, attitude, etc. It's completely our own, makeup, and you've just made the most of every opportunity. So it's been incredible, buddy. Um, just really briefly on the strategies that you use. What were the big levers for you that you found over the last couple of months that have been most pivotal, most profitable for you?
Yeah, I think like November was obviously our best month ever, and it starts way before November, right? Like the lead up to your biggest month isn't the month prior. It's kind of doing an audit of what do we need to continue to grow this. And having only launched with boxer briefs, t-shirts, and socks, there's a whole other category in underwear that I wasn't, meeting, and that was trunks, a bit of like a shorter leg. And there's even more, there's definitely more areas within the same category that I can explore, and I will in the future. So I think by just adding more depth to what my customers want, you know, hearing customer feedback, or even just reading comments on Facebook ads, people asking like, "Oh, do you do this? Do you do that?" That to me signals there's demand for a particular product that they want my brand to make, right? So we launched trunks in May, and they're almost selling at the same rate. It's almost 1-to-1, the rate they're selling at compared to boxer briefs. So you could argue that like effectively doubled our revenue just in that area. Um, and like it's a constant thing of like I need to upskill and everything, and not just upskill, but like break through to the next level, right? Like what do I need to do to break through to that next revenue milestone or whatever it is. And it's just time. I think a lot of it is time, but doing the right work as well, right? So you could easily burn a week, a month, 2 months, 3 months, just doing the day to day and not thinking about what's your strategy to actually break through and do, you know, reach higher heights. So I think that's it. So one of the big things that helped me basically, think about strategy more, and it's just buying back my time. That was a huge thing that we discussed. My goal for 2025 was to try to buy back my time. So we moved all of our product to a 3PL in May. I simply ran out of room at home when the trunks were launching. So by going to a 3PL, it would have taken up way too much of my time, and I wouldn't have had the space really with the number of SKUs that we had once we launched the trunks. So going to a 3PL really served its purpose at the time. It continues to be really convenient because I don't have to pack orders. So that was a huge factor, and I think I'd recommend that to anyone, at least outsourcing order packing. Not doesn't have to be at a 3PL, but at least look at, and you talk about this all the time in the weekly calls, is to do a time audit. Like our most valuable resource is our time. So I think if anyone's flopped at Black Friday, or flopped, like, had a really bad month, well, what did you do, before that? Did you prepare adequately and do all the right things? So time's a huge factor in where it goes, because, a lot of the businesses, a lot of startups start out as one person, or if you're lucky, you have two, right? It's your partner, it's your brother, it's a friend. Like if there's two co-founders, that's double the people compared to what I'm operating at, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, so time's hugely, really, really important where you spend it. So I think that was a focus for 2025. And I think it will continue to be my focus. I think you always have to, like I said, you could easily burn a day or a week and think like, oh, where did that day go?
Mm.
So to constantly be aware of where your time goes, and to, I guess, try to work towards working on, things that will move the needle more impactful work. Even if it's, doing outreach to influencers to try to work with them. That's time consuming. And, I have someone that does that for me now. It's so little things like that, things that are, you can easily hand over to someone else, hugely valuable.
Yeah, no, you're so right. Just with our most valuable resource being our time, and understanding where that goes, because as human beings, we're sort of taught, or at least it's ingrained, to be especially efficient with things. But the effectiveness side of things is the difference between people who succeed and don't, right? Like you can be really efficient at cleaning your inbox, but that's not the effective work. The effective work, as you say, is the actual, how am I getting my brand and my word out there? What am I actually doing to obsess over this one thing I know is the key, such as, say, ads, for example, versus I'll leave it for another day, let's go do something, the path of least resistance type thing, and be really efficient at
Yeah.
that. Because we all have the same amount of hours in a day. We hear that all the time. But the difference between those that get so far ahead so quickly is that they're way better at using their time, on the
Yeah.
effective things. So that's a really cool lesson that you've obviously been learning over the last few years, and something you've got a lot better at. And that's just purely because your results have gotten better. Like that's in terms of putting those two and two together. So, that's been amazing. And I think that it's a really great observation point to just question themselves. Like, I think, again, as you mentioned, if you're caught in the weeds all the time, day to day, you're being efficient at this stuff, but you're not looking outside of today or this week or this month, it's like you don't get the opportunity to see where your deficiencies are, until you actually physically,
Hmm.
objectively say, this is what I did, this impactful or not, and just treat yourself as almost like I say that, treat yourself as an experiment. Like, no one's going to judge you. You're not showing anyone anything. You don't have to be accountable except to yourself, because at the end
Yeah.
of the day, you're responsible for everything that you do or don't do. So yeah, that's a really great lever that we've certainly found. Just being honest with yourself about your time and what you're doing is crucial, because you can change that. That's the most empowering thing, right? I love the
Yeah.
saying, what is it? Responsibility follows or accountability follows the blame, basically. So if you're pointing a finger at saying it's their fault, or power, so power follows the finger. So it's like, always point back to yourself, because then you've got the power to make that change or do the thing you're supposed to be doing, right? So, and that's what, again, just completely admired about you. And we don't win everything in terms of like the decisions that we make, but we learn each time at the very least, and we're
Yeah.
always better for it. So yeah, I've very much admired your malleability, your testing, your objectivity, your assertiveness, especially with just trying this next thing. It's like, yep, do it, see what happens, measure it, work, yep, great, keep going, enhance. No, it didn't, cut it, next thing. So yeah, that's again just all the reasons compounding for you over the last few years, which may seem to some people like a decent period of time, but honestly, for me, knowing what I know, the experience I've been, I know that time goes super quick is a very short period of time. And even the monthly is like, you more than doubled your monthly in that period of time from October to November. So that in itself is just, as you say, the
Yeah.
compound of the couple of years of honestly being in business. And next year's going to be even better and even better and even better, because you're A, improving, but B, giving time what it needs to continue to perpetuate. So it's been amazing to watch you, buddy. And I know there's so many more great things on the horizon. So, thank you so much for sharing experience, and celebrating and being really proud of what you've done. And as I say, more goals on the horizon. So thank you for sharing that with everybody, mate. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks, Will.
Cool.
Appreciate the
Awesome.
support.
Sure.